Continuing from the haunting second part, player 246 now lies peacefully in a marked coffin, a piece in the bloody game. Other soldiers received orders to bring the coffin containing a certain player to the communal sleeping quarters. Everyone quickly gathered to observe. Cho Hyunju opened the coffin lid and realized he was still alive. She called out to everyone to quickly get him out to rescue him in time. Outside, police officer Hwang Junho's group was still adrift at sea with their crew. At this point, the entire group was in a panic as one member had gone missing without a trace. The captain suggested that perhaps he had drunk too much, vomited, and fallen into the water. The young man in the group heard this and realized that last night, at 3 a.m., he also heard a scream and saw Captain Oh Dal-soo there. Junho wanted to try to find the unfortunate young man, but the captain thought it would be a waste of time to look for a corpse when the deadline to find the island was pressing. So the man in the group suggested they should go to the nearest port to find another drone operator. Somewhere, the body of the unfortunate young man had already washed ashore. Returning to the island of the Squid Game, after a minute of silence, the male lead Seong Gi-hun woke up. He looked around in a daze, seeing that most of the other players were gone. To the male lead's question, Hyunju just shook her head, as if silently telling him that everyone was gone. Even Jong-bae, after experiencing the real battle and witnessing everything, could only sit huddled in a corner, trembling with fear. The masked, square-faced man and his henchmen came to inform all the players that 35 players had been eliminated last night. The piggy bank began to receive bloody money. Currently, there are 60 players left, so the total prize money accumulated so far is 39.6 billion. Each person's prize money is 660 million. Now is the time for all players to vote on whether to continue playing. Gi-hun approached them with a furious expression. Despite his desperate screams, holding a gun and pointing it at himself, they only restrained him in response to his cries. The leader was still somewhere, enjoying wine and observing everything on the screen. Junho's boat captain also called to inform him that they had returned to port to find a new drone and would then resume the mission he had given the captain, which was not to let that group reach the island before the game ended. If the situation worsened, they were to eliminate everyone, including the inspector. Back in the game room, it was time to vote. Gi-hun had also lost his usual spirit after many events. He was handcuffed in a corner and considered to have cast a blank vote. Other players were called up one by one to vote to continue or stop. The first person to go up under pressure from below chose to continue the game. The other players were not afraid. In fact, their faces showed satisfaction with her choice. Switching scenes, the square-faced man informed the commander that their total losses were 8 managers and 27 soldiers. The commander ordered the lost personnel to be replaced by new staff and quickly repaired the infrastructure because the VIPs were about to arrive. Underground, the rules remained the same. The bodies of eliminated players were incinerated. However, some marked bodies were moved elsewhere for organ trafficking. The square-faced man, accompanied by Kang No-ul, was one of the masterminds behind this operation. While moving together, he sweet-talked No-ul, asking her why she didn't stay in the north but came to the south for boba, and even invited her on a date in this desolate island. But she was reserved, only wanting to go to the operating room, and as for dating, they could discuss it outside. Back to the players indeed, the greedy players who had no way to survive outside continued to choose to proceed. The old man Oh Il-nam even taunted Gi-hun, suggesting that it was all part of his plan. "You set up a scene to trick everyone outside and then harmed them all, didn't you?" The others also chimed in agreement. The whole group cheered and clapped when their plan to continue went smoothly. The fortune teller Seon-yo approached Gi-hun and said, "You didn't come here willingly, but the restless spirits above you dragged you here. Your friend's screams will grow louder and louder. You will hear those screams until your last breath." As soon as she finished speaking, Gi-hun lost control of his emotions and grabbed her by the neck. Luckily, he was chained. Otherwise, she might have been the one to die. Indeed, player Park Gyong-seok was taken to the operating room with an intact body. The Triangle Man also brought Kang No-ul here to meet his group. He stated that they were all in the same boat, which is why they met without masks to be as fair as possible. No-ul also took off her mask and approached the leader. Just as they were about to deal with player Park Gyong-seok, No-el suddenly attacked with her gun, which was not far away. With her quick wit and agile movements, she dealt with some of the small fry in the area. With a pistol in hand, she approached the bastard and said, "Do you want to know why I came south? My commander was very much like you, so I killed him." With that, he met the same fate as her former commander. The doctor, hiding in a corner nearby, raised his hands in surrender. He was forced to obey orders and receive money. No Ewell didn't say much, pointing the gun at him and ordering, "Save this person or die." After the life or death vote, all players were given food to regain their strength for the next game. Gi-hun sat in a corner, and his elderly mother came to bring him food and comfort him. Hyunju also apologized, saying she should have been the one to find more bullets for everyone. But the glasses-wearing man argued that it wasn't her fault, but Jong-bae's. Everyone at that time, both he and his mother, witnessed Jong-bae going to get bullets, but when he was about to leave, he collapsed to the floor. When Hyunju returned, the masked figures had already stormed in. If his mother hadn't stopped them in time, Hyunju would not have survived. Gi-hun, disheartened, glanced at Jong-bae nearby, who was hiding in a corner enjoying himself. That night, the person who accompanied Hwang Jun-ho came to meet him to finish their unfinished conversation from the morning. He asked about Captain Oh Dal-soo, and Jun-ho said he was his benefactor after saving his life many times. Then, he recounted that last night, at 3 a.m., he saw Captain Oh Dal-soo holding something, a screwdriver. He suspected that Captain Oh Dal-soo had attacked the drone pilot. But Jun-ho remained confident and refuted that idea because he had been with the captain for many years as they tried to find the island until now. From someone who suspected others, he was now suspected by Director Choi of being the one who did it because he had been drinking with the drone pilot. After that, Jun-ho did not want to continue the conversation and told him to go to bed early to prepare for tomorrow. Stepping into the fourth game, all players would be divided into 2 teams, and the team division would be based on the ball each player drew. Below the operating room, the wound stitching was successful, but due to blood loss, player Park Kyung-suk could not wake up yet. No Ewell offered her blood because she was O-type, which might help him. After a while, all players had their team assigning balls in hand. The next game was hide and seek. The green team had to find an exit and escape within 30 minutes, or hide so that the red team could not catch them until the game ended. The red team had to find the green team players in the play area and eliminate them within 30 minutes. If no one was eliminated, they would be eliminated. The green team players were equipped with keys to open escape doors, while the red team was equipped with a sharp knife to easily eliminate opponents. But here, before the game began, dissatisfied players could switch positions, change teams with each other. On this side, Jun-ho's group had also prepared their gear to set off. Director Choi did not move with him. From a corner, he called Jun-ho to let him know that he would investigate what he had said last night. He believed his intuition was rarely wrong and warned Jun-ho to be careful with Captain Oh Dal-soo. In the waiting room, the shaman from the land of fairies with bib number 044 began to perform a ritual to summon Mr. Tiger and Mr. Mouse to guide the way. The long-haired man, a close friend of Thanos, approached Minsu and insulted him. He suggested that Minsu should switch teams because his best skill was hiding, and he urged Minsu to keep this attitude and continue because their team had already ascended to heaven. Lee Myung-gi, currently at the bottom, showed great concern for the person he had betrayed. He said that Kim Jun-hee, even with a weapon in hand, couldn't do anything with a baby inside her. No matter what he said, he still had a hold on his ex-girlfriend, Kim Jun-hee, who couldn't harm anyone. He guaranteed that he would find someone to deal with things and then protect the mother and child. He affirmed that he would take care of everything so that their family could get out of there. But Kim Jun-hee retorted that to protect her child, she would dare to do anything. Perhaps his sincere words at this moment had somewhat touched the fragile emotions of this young pregnant woman. With the mother-son duo, the son was also discussing how to switch teams with his mother. She wanted to switch with another player, and then the two of them would run away together. But he thought this wasn't smart because his mother was old and weak and couldn't run. He wanted his mother to switch teams with him, but she didn't want to because her son was always weak and couldn't harm anyone. He also retorted to his mother, saying that she couldn't do it either. His father used to beat her every day, and she never resisted. He tightly held his mother's knife and promised that the two of them would survive this place. The old man, who owed trillions, sat at the bottom, wondering who to switch teams with. When he found a target and approached, he looked up and saw Gi-hun, which made him realize he should leave without Gi-hun having to say much. Jong-bae also looked for a weak person to ask to switch teams because he knew he wouldn't survive the game. With Gi-hun looking at him from afar, Jong-bae angrily approached, saying that it wasn't his fault and no matter what, they wouldn't win anyway. Gi-hun said nothing, which only made Jong-bae more furious. With pent-up emotions, Jong-bae blamed everything on Gi-hun. It wasn't until the masked man approached and pointed a gun at him that Jong-bae silently stepped back. The game officially began. The green team entered first. Before leaving, the elderly mother instructed her son to play well. Kim Jun-hee, with her weapon and jacket in hand, also advanced. Lee Myung-gi told him to keep his promise. Inside, all the green-clad players went to find their hiding spots. Kim Jun-hee's body was aching from pregnancy. Fortunately, an elderly woman nearby and Hyunju came to help them all find shelter. Lee Myung-gi, outside, had also shaken hands with the long-haired man to complete this task well. The game officially began, and the red team also began their hunt. Gi-hun, with his weapon and a vengeful look, was determined to deal with Jong-bae. After rescuing player Park Yong-seok, No Eul also conveniently sent the unfortunate doctor to his demise. She put her clothes back on and said she had saved him. Back in the game area, once all the green-clad players had hidden, the 30-minute countdown for the game began. This place was nothing short of a labyrinth with countless turns and winding paths. The hunters and hiders would occasionally glimpse each other. The shaman from the land of fairies and her followers were moving together, guided by Mr. Tiger and Mr. Mouse. While moving, the indebted old man found a door, but his key couldn't open it. Later, someone came and helped him open the way, and they both moved together. Hyunju, while moving with the other two, also discovered that their keys had different shapes, and it was fortunate that all three moved together, as only then could they open doors with different shapes. The three old men and Kim Jun-hee voluntarily gave their keys to Hyunju so that she could quickly get all three out of this place and complete the game. After a long time of moving and searching, Gi-hun also found the person he was looking for. The young man ran for his life, trying to find a way out. Finally, in a dead end, he found a door. When he opened it, it was a hole with no way out. Fortunately, he was not the person Gi-hun was looking for. But when Gi-hun stepped outside and looked, the person he was looking for was also looking at him with terror. At this moment, a few other players had found someone to eliminate and passed. Lee Myung-gi and the long-haired man also found an unfortunate victim. Both quickly cornered the young man. He struggled against Myung-gi, but when the long-haired man arrived, 2 against 1 meant he was almost certainly injured or worse. Despite the other player begging because he had an elderly mother at home who was sick, Lee Myung-gi now also wanted to end the suffering quickly. He asked the long-haired man to attack together so they could pass together. On this side, Hyunju's group was discovered by another player, who tried to hunt them all down. Back on this side, Lee Myung-gi wanted the long-haired man to continue looking for the next target because they had only dealt with half. He also cleverly took the victim's necklace, knowing it was the key to opening the door. Then he picked up a candy-filled necklace from the ground and ate one to calm himself. On the other side, Hyunju's group was also cornered. Despite the bastard only wanting to stab the old woman or Kim Jun-hee, Hyunju stood up and decided to protect the 2 weakest people in her team. Switching scenes to the indebted old man while looking for an exit, he encountered a red team player. He quickly ran out and blocked the door, even though his teammate inside had been dealt with by the woman. After dealing with that person, Hyunju also helped Kim Jun-hee and the old woman continue to find an exit. Lee Myung-gi and the long-haired man also found the next target to deal with. After stabbing them, both of them passed this game. Hearing that player number 333 had passed made Kim Jun-hee overjoyed. She believed that since he had promised, he would definitely come to protect her. Indeed, Myung-gi was also very eager to find his beloved. The long-haired man offered to go with him. While moving, he even gave Myung-gi a brutal lesson. While looking for Kim Jun-hee, they would eliminate anyone they encountered. This would both increase the prize money and prevent the red team players from having targets to complete the game. This way, the game could end faster than expected. Unlike the others, Gi-hun was still diligently searching for his prey. Even if he encountered any other players, he would not harm them. What he wanted was to personally eliminate Jong-bae. Jong-bae was currently trying to run away from another player. While the two struggled, he fortunately pushed the player down, causing them to die. Thanks to that, he also had a weapon for self-defense. Hyunju's group also found a safe hiding place. At this point, Kim Jun-hee had a broken ankle and could barely move. Kim Jun-hee wanted to stay here alone so as not to hinder everyone. The old woman offered to stay with the young girl because she felt that both of them had given Hyunju a lot of trouble. But what they didn't expect was that, at this very moment, Kim Jun-hee suddenly went into labor. The glasses-wearing man, after a long search, finally found his target huddled in a corner. Despite his pleas, saying he also had an elderly mother outside who was sick. When the glasses-wearing man's reason began to waver due to empathy, the young man suddenly attacked him. Almost completely losing the initiative, he nearly died on the spot if not for a nearby player who heard the commotion and quickly rushed in to stab the young man. On this side, Kim Junhee was trying to give birth with the help of the old woman and Hyunju. The shaman calmly led her flock to find a peaceful haven, like a savior. The door of hope finally appeared, and the key in her hand suddenly shook violently, as if signaling something was about to happen. However, as soon as she opened the door, she panicked, recoiled, and turned to flee for her life. On the other side of the door, the red team members were lurking like predators, hunting for their next unfortunate prey to save their lives. The shaman did not hesitate to turn her back and abandon all those who had put their trust in her from the beginning. She continued to flee as other players also began to hunt. Unexpectedly, she ran into Oh Il Nam and had to flee into an adjacent room, only to find that it was Gi-hun, the one she had taunted earlier. But luckily, she remembered that he had a grudge against Jong-bae and revealed that she had just seen him outside. She suggested that if Gi-hun just stabbed him, all his karma would be gone. Thanks to this, she also preserved her life and continued to move. While hiding from other players, a voice suddenly spoke from behind. "Don't you see? I have to find Se-byuk. Help me find Se-byuk." The medium quickly escaped into the next room. Minsu also gave up the idea of stabbing her and turned to leave. But surprisingly, the room she mistakenly entered was the exit everyone was looking for. And the bitter truth for the dirty living person was that 3 keys of different shapes were needed to open the door. She quickly searched the bodies of the unfortunate players, hoping to pick up a survival key to escape this hellish place. On this side, Kim Junhee's efforts were finally rewarded. In the critical moment, a tiny princess cried out, "A miracle," amidst the storm. All 3 were very happy and emotional to see this tiny life. But their joy was short-lived as the enemy arrived. He furiously attacked Hyunju. Although she didn't want to, the situation forced Hyunju to strike him down. Another red-clad player saw this and quickly left as if he had seen nothing. It was thanks to this accidental scuffle with that person that Hyunju found a way out of this hellish place. In overwhelming joy, she turned back to inform everyone, hoping all 3 could leave together. However, those were Hyunju's last words. The last words Hyunju managed to utter before leaving them forever, leaving a choked silence amidst the unfinished escape. And ironically, the one who attacked the kindest girl, the one who was always a beacon of hope for the group, was none other than Lee Myung-gi, the one Kim Junhee had always trusted, waited for with love and longing. Lee Myung-gi knew he had caused great trouble. He quickly left the place and informed the long-haired man that there was no one else there. Gi-hun silently followed the sticky syrup trails on the floor, gradually closing the distance with the one he was hunting. In a simmering rage, when the traces suddenly disappeared, a chill ran down his spine. His intuition told him that the man was holding his breath, hiding behind the door. What happens next? Make sure to subscribe to the channel to catch the next developments of Squid Game Season 3. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.